We know we're elevating when people that we used to be able to tolerate, we don't tolerate anymore. We start losing friends. People that got us, they don't get us anymore.
Me and Joe obviously want a lot for ourselves, but what has come out of being partners with him is what we want for our staff, what we want for our families.
Remember, the brain operates from fear. When we over-identify with the brain, we're operating out of ego.
I give credit to always reading, always observing, always staying curious, always remaining open to my life not just being average and okay.
Maybe 20% of the time. 80% of the time you're not achieving your goal, right? Because these are things outside of us that we can't control.
Welcome back to Attorneys on Accident with Joe Worth and Ash Blackburn. We're here again with Christina Gomez, our wonderful life coach. She has transformed the lives of CEOs, billionaires, celebrities, and if you've ever wondered what it's like to be in a life coaching session, we're going to give you an exclusive here today. You'll hear exactly what goes on in the phone calls with Joe and I, and how she has absolutely changed our life for the better. Stay tuned.
So something, Joe, that I think is so interesting about our trajectory, but certainly a big part for you, is that you didn't have to just switch up the status quo for yourself. Externally, like you said, everything was going in a good direction for you. You didn't have to make room for anybody else. There was even benefit to you just hanging out for a couple more years, seeing if the thing would fail.
Coasting.
And coast through. Like, what made you decide to make such a drastic shift in your life?
I guess it's that analogy or the story of the dog that's on the porch and it's sleeping on a nail, and it's kind of like in his skin, but it's not breaking the skin, and it's uncomfortable, but not quite enough for like to justify the dog's getting up and using the energy. It's just kind of like, oh, I can feel it's kind of in my rib, and it's annoying, but like I don't really want to get up. Kind of like when you got to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. You know?
I hate it.
Yeah. So I'm making these calculations, and it just got to the point where that nail I was sleeping on punctured the skin, and I was like, I couldn't ignore it anymore. But I give credit to always reading, always observing, always staying curious, always remaining open to my life not just being average and okay and good enough, right? Like that. Anytime I got to a place where in my life where I felt like this isn't acceptable, then I did something about it, right? And
it's switching from aligning to the ego to aligning to spirit. Ego is status quo.
Okay, well, that's...
And living aligned to, when I say spirit, I mean our essence or our soul, whatever we want to call that.
The ego is status quo.
The ego is status quo. Think about the ego in terms of if the brain had a personality. And remember, the brain operates from fear.
Okay.
When we over-identify with the brain and with our thoughts, the programmed thoughts, we're operating out of ego. Now, ego is not creative, new, and fresh. Ego is not in the present, here, and now. It's only in the past or in the future, but it's not in the time zone of the now.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so you, as you were living your life more aligned to your truth, more aligned to spirit, you became less tolerant of the status quo, which was operating from ego.
And that's the right word, because it
Yes.
was, in my head, it was, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. Or I can't tolerate
And
this
that's an
anymore.
indicator of elevation and promotion. We know we're elevating when people that we used to be able to tolerate, we don't tolerate anymore. We start losing friends. People that got us, they don't get us anymore. It can start to be a real lonely time because those relationships stop working.
I've heard that, yeah.
Because we're elevating, we're
there's
promoting, we're
lots of-
growing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
How did you get over, though, the feeling of fear? Like, there's so much respect that I had for you at that time, because you made a choice to trust in whatever direction a divorce, basically, right, from your partner was going. Whether it worked out for you the way that you wanted to wave that wand, or whether it didn't, you made that drastic choice to change what had been your life for a decade. And I had so much respect for you in that moment that, like, for me, it was everything that I needed to see to say, this is a person that I want to align myself with rather than somebody else.
Well, and so Christina, without that ingredient, I really don't think it happens, because I remember I remember a session, and it was one of those ones that you don't forget because you have those, those moments in life where it's just like the lights really come on. And I was talking about the fear that I had, right? And I started to go down the rabbit hole and started spiraling, and you watched me, and okay, I'm gonna let you have your tantrum on the floor. And I was spiraling and thinking, well, okay, you've helped me identify that this is the expert of me is identified that this is no longer serving you and it's time to discard this and go in a different direction. Okay, next step. Now, what's the plan? Okay, well, I've got to, make this split and make this break, and then all I saw was darkness, right? And looked down, and all I saw was just dark tunnel with no light. And that's where fear, 100% fear. And you came in, and I know you've done this with countless others, and said, as soon as you take that step into the dark, which is good and right and pure and spiritual and all the stuff, you will see magic, and you're happy. You will start to see these synchronicities. You will start to see
it will organically
what we
unfold.
call coincidences,
right.
all the stuff that's floating around. You will start to see the magic happen. And I said, well,
but first it's inside out.
But but then of course, then the fear jumps in and says, but Ash pretty much runs the firm and does everything, and I don't know if I have the energy to do that anymore after 20 years. And what if she leaves with all the staff? And do I want to go work with somebody else, another friend? Do I want to go on my own? Do I even want to be an attorney? Like, I just question everything. You helped me understand that my identity was not, just me being an attorney, right? You helped kind of.
That's right. You're
break
attorney
out of that,
by trade, right? Attorney by trade.
What will people think if I suddenly stop being an attorney and go into real estate investments or anything? Like, it was kind of all on the table, right?
Right. And if I could say, you did something powerful, and that was you shifted your perspective on what courage looks like. Courage is not a feeling that leads to success. Courage is a decision that you embody that unfolds success.
Was there a feeling ever that, like, if I chose to go a different direction and you didn't want to be an attorney, like, what would happen?
No, because, well, there was, but in that same conversation, just in a very motherly kind of, wise, I almost said elder, same age, but like in a very calm way, she just said, do you honestly think that, if you do this, you're not going to figure it out, and it's not, your path's not going to unfold before you? And then, of course, it was, no, it will, and I will be fine. And so she just helped break down each and every fear that I threw up, and realized that they were just, they were just thoughts in my head. They were just words, and you even helped me understand that, like, what are words? Words are just symbols of energy, and so. But
there was a mechanism, something that happened inside of you, where you gave yourself permission. You chose.
Yeah.
Transformation. You chose it. We have to give ourselves permission. You chose new.
Yeah, and it was amazing, and I felt like I was floating for like a couple months, and I haven't gotten back there, but I will one day. But I felt like I was floating for a long time, just completely honoring and giving myself permission to live life on my terms, and
That's
all the stuff, all the kind of.
And that was removing a lot of programming that my identity is my role as an attorney only.
Right.
You had to expand that identity to also an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Right.
I'm a business owner.
And it'll all work out.
That's right. Are we going to infuse our thinking and our behavior with fear, or with abundance and plenty?
Yeah.
And you kept choosing abundance and plenty.
And that's why we can recommend seeing a life coach so easily, is because it was magical as things started to fall into place.
Can we use the word spooky?
Spooky.
Yes.
We had spooky moments thanks to the witch doctor over here.
It was profound. Watching it unfold. Two people come together for real synergy.
With no prior plans or discussions, like anything. It was just
synchronicity.
Simply, hey,
just a leap of faith.
I'm going in this direction, and I'm not here to, suggest or tell you what to do. It's just something that I and you kind of helped me. Like, I just stayed within my power. I didn't give any of it away, and just said, this is something that I know I have to do. I don't know exactly how it's going to unfold, but this is what I'm doing, and then left it at that, right? Without the, oh, by the way, I'm still scared and I'm afraid of this. Like, no, like, it'll all work out, and you were right.
And then even being okay during times when it was really risky and it was high stakes, to appreciate that the body did activate the fight or flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be in survival mode during times.
And that's okay.
And
It's
that's
normal.
okay.
You normalized it.
Yeah. And it's predictable, and it's gonna be what it takes to get to the other side.
There was such peace for me in that time that now that we're all kind of talking about it, I mean, certainly I was filled with what's going to be on the other side of this. But like I said, to watch somebody dismantle their life that benefited them in so many ways, to find greater peace, to give a greater purpose, to align things to what I really wanted out of the firm, was such a no-brainer for me that, like, I could completely have faith in the direction of where our partnership was going, and felt such loyalty to you after that. Yes. But again, you didn't know me. You didn't have reason to trust that was kind of my character in
But
the
she knew
direction.
you.
She did know.
And she was there to say,
This
I know
is
the real
the
Ash.
yin yang. This is the perfect partnership.
Yeah, I know the real Ash, and so that, yeah.
And then, to enter into the partnership and have to get to know each other, to have to work through those initial
it was an
kinks.
arranged marriage in India, kind of. Is she gonna be attractive? I hope I'm attractive.
It was. What was it like? Those initial bits of conflict, especially with your perception of me, my perception of you, coming together, being partners, and having to deal with what font we were going to use
waiting for the counterpunch, right? And I think just men in general are more passive aggressive. So it was, something refreshing was when we had conflict, we could talk it out and get into more of the like touchy feely and like, oh, well, that's how you feel. Like, this is how I feel. And I guess I was making some assumptions, and let's just meet together more and talk more. And that way we make sure that we don't start playing this game of like, are you doing this and am I doing that, and right? So just that was really nice. And I remember kind of coming home and telling my wife like, oh, it's really nice being partners with a woman, and you can just have conversations that don't have to be like kind of get louder and louder and louder, right? So
But you guys couldn't have get to that place unless you moved from autopilot to conscious living, because you guys had to be open to what is.
yeah, and I think
The
that's
auto default of who we thought the other person was, it could have persisted, but
Yeah.
you guys did the work of being open, aware, conscious.
Yeah, and it's probably one of those things that's easy for Ash and I to dismiss, but anyone listening, I just say, like, that's such an important thing. And, marriage, any business relationship, right, is just remaining open to the possibility that you're not right, that maybe you
That's
don't have
right.
it all figured out, that maybe this person has value. Brings value in a
Mm-hmm.
different way. And that just comes back to gratitude, right? And not thinking you're the end-all, be-all to everything.
Yes, I would add a layer of boundaries to it for me personally, of realizing and really thinking about what somebody's intention is. It was very easy for me to have conflict with you and to be willing to be wrong or see things from your perspective, because I truly felt like your intention for me was good. You were never coming at me for your own agenda. It was always for the partnership. And I've tried to put that in practice since meeting you, of what is everybody's intention for me. And if I can truly say that this person is acting with good intentions, then my boundaries don't have to be up, and I can be more willing to be wrong when in different scenarios I wasn't willing.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah,
but that
well, that's a
actually
great way
makes
of looking
sense.
at it.
Yeah.
I think I can apply that to my marriage, too. Make sure my intentions are pure.
How has, like I said, there's been so much for me where I can see that you were living two different lives in the past, and now you're living very one holistic life. How has infusing your work life and the way that you want to be living that into your marriage and your kids and at home, what does it feel like to be like living that life right now?
It feels more honest. It feels more authentic. You know, it was kind of this guilt, which is weird. I don't know, something with my maladaptive childhood or something. But I had carry this guilt sometimes where I didn't think I deserved to like have the great vacations and be out of the office when I had the staff working, and so just that disparity, right? Like just trying to wrestle with it, and I kind of envied my friends that own their own law firms and they never thought about their staff. They're like, what are you talking about? Just, you know, go to the lake. Who cares? Like, and I'm just like, yeah, but like, it's not a great look, and want to be in the trenches with them like you are, right? Kind of a thing. So just once we did it our way, you know, I never liked this idea. I kind of bristled at this idea of like, you know, your work family and you guys should be tight and close and they should know everything about you. But you've kind of helped create a team and you've created this team where now I'm comfortable, right? Like, and I enjoy their company because there are people and they're aligned with our values, right? So that was a lot of it that I didn't appreciate. Like, these were just people that didn't have my values, and they just kind of drift off, and the ones that stick around are the ones that are attracted to our energy and what we're selling, and right? So just now I can go on a trip and come back and talk about it, and I don't have to kind of feel this weird sort of like I'm here and you're there kind of a thing, and hey, how was your weekend? And I mean it, and you know, I want to hear about their trips, and yeah, it does feel just more like it's not aligned. Me versus them and us versus them. Like, it's just we're all in this together, and
that's what happens when we align to the truth of who we are. Then we realize the truth is we're all interconnected.
Yeah, and I feel that now, and I'm sure you do, right? Like, it's a great place. You come into the office and it just feels amazing.
Yeah, I think, you know, again, as somebody who always valued work, I could see that at the end of it, and I was ultimately trying to get to it. And I just talked about intention, and I think building a team that's intentional about working as a team, going towards the same direction is always something that I wanted. And it was something that I was good at spotting. That person doesn't have the intention to work with us. They have the intention to work for themselves. What I didn't have was the ability to process that in my personal life. So a lot of me partnering with you has been, I have this piece at work that I knew I could achieve. How do I bring this piece in home? How do I date the person that's going to truly have good intentions for me, raise my son with the kind of environment that I want him to experience that I didn't have friendships that you've really taught me. Again, like, their work, you have to put work into friendships and having people around you with good intentions. And so a lot of it is so cohesive and such a good relationship, because I hope I've given that to you at work, and you've kind of helped me find it at home.
Well, yeah, and watching you from afar and kind of just, you know, being intimidated, and you were just so driven and knew what you wanted. You know, I would always stand back and kind of like reverence and respect of like, I didn't want to like talk to you or, you know, get too close, because I had you up on this pedestal, and as far as just somebody that, you know, singularly driven, and you got where you are very quickly, faster than, you know, most attorneys I can imagine in the country. So it's been cool to see you also go, okay, I've experienced this success. What does success look like? And being open to like the family thing and the kid thing, and maybe I don't need alcohol to be such an important part of my life, even though that's kind of what people seem to do my age and at the concerts I go to, right? Like, so that's something that I personally was always on board with partnering with you, because I just saw this wisdom of like, I don't know everything, but I am going to get what I want out of this life. Watch me, right? And there was never any question, right?
Right.
So...
And going back to how few people really know their intention. And because you guys both were creating your outward reality first by creating it on the inside, you were listening to that still small voice of, what am I thinking and feeling? What do I need and what do I want? And then you're thinking on purpose. That's the way we create what we really want. We think on purpose. We don't just think any thought that comes into our brain. We don't even know where thoughts come from. It could be programming. It could have been a TikTok.
Yeah.
And so thinking on purpose.
That's where I really feel like I had found life coaching, and it all happens in the way that it's supposed to happen. I found the one that I needed. But versus therapy is, I think I initially went to therapy in my early 20s because I had the worst problem with negative thoughts. Like just in a cycle over and over and over again, and I did not know how to get out of it. And even if you ask me now what you've taught me about getting out of a negative thought pattern, I can't really articulate it, but to say they no longer happen and it has changed my life. Like what guidance would you give people about breaking those cycles?
Okay, well, so it's a retraining of the brain. There is a network in the brain called the default mode network. And that stores all of our habits. And we can retrain it on purpose by thinking on purpose and then thinking that thought again and again and again. Think of it as a train track on top of another train track. It doesn't mean the old programming of I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving doesn't still exist. We just want the new train track. We want that one stronger and louder. Because
it doesn't exist.
What was that?
I'm saying it still exists.
Yeah, I mean, it might still feel like angel devil on the shoulder. The old thinking, you're not worthy, you don't deserve it. And then you've got the new programming saying, no, all good things are available to me.
Yeah, because some people might mistakenly come into it as they start to practice this and think, well, I shouldn't have those thoughts. And
Oh,
the
they're
fact that I'm
very
still having
concerned.
it
People
means
are
that
very concerned about being human. Very concerned.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
stressed. What's wrong with me? I don't feel worthy. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
You're on planet Earth.
And by the
It's
way, I
plight
felt
of
those
the
same
human.
things. Yeah.
Every person, every client
You
I've
still,
ever
right?
had.
You still have them. It's not like
Of course. It's programming.
You're a trained professional and you still have them every day. And,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I meditate an hour a day, and I do affirmations, and
so you
I
can't
do
just work out once and be in shape for the rest of your
right,
life?
and be in
It's-
perfect shape. But it goes back to that question. It's reprogramming that default mode network. And we can do it on purpose just by thinking on purpose.
As we're talking about this, I remembered that just like the hard stop that I literally did this morning when I was having anxiety. Hard stop, hard stop, hard stop. Me and Christina had a session the other day, and I said,
This is good.
I get so overwhelmed with how much I have to do, and I'm capable of doing a lot at the same time that sometimes I'm on the treadmill, and you know when you're like running so fast that you're about to lose it, and you have two choices. Keep running faster until you lose it,
Or become a meme.
or hit
hard
that
stop.
red button.
Hard stop
Or
on the
become-
treadmill.
hard stop. And so I've started hard stopping, like physically in my life. And
Yeah.
when we were doing the negative thought patterns that I had so bad when I met you, I would try to catch it,
Yes,
right? Like physically, I'm having a bad thought, catch it,
that's awareness.
stop it, rework it. And that's what it is. It's awareness.
That's it. It's awareness and pause versus awareness react.
But it is work, and so I think sometimes when I try to talk to
Yes.
friends about it and introduce them to these ideas, when they're like, my marriage is this and my wife will never be that, and I'm like, do you hear yourself? Like you're saying that she's never going to be like this or be this.
Again, are we going to let pain cause suffering or growth?
Right.
It's our choice.
So what are like some of the initial things when you're teaching just a newbie, like someone who's just an infantile when it comes to this kind of concepts? Like what are you helping them understand that they're usually almost always coming into it with?
Again, being very concerned about beliefs that don't serve them, and being really mystified at how to replace a belief. So they can be very concerned that I don't feel worthy. I don't feel worthy. What's wrong with me? I don't feel worthy. What's wrong with me? I hold this belief. It was because my brother was the golden child. Okay, like let's just say, and that was my childhood script. So one big thing is you don't have to take your parents' story. Create your own story. Let's write it. What do you want that story to be? And then let's think on purpose. Because the thinking on purpose, that can create a whole cascade of events. So we have to familiarize the brain with something new. And so that's why also it's let's use our imagination. Again, the brain doesn't know the difference between what we imagine, dream, or experience.
What you hear in all these athletes that perform at a high level when they
Visualization.
envision the racetrack
So-
before the game and then making the shot.
Right. So a lot of people think thoughts are just these vapors that go through their mind. No, actually, when we're thinking, it causes this domino neuronal effect. It actually causes a physiological effect. And so when we activate our thought, then we use our imagination, we're familiarizing the brain to something new. It creates something outside of us.
Just like if I were to start screaming and yelling horrible obscenities at you and I hate you and you felt like I meant it, that would change the energy in you and the room.
That's right. That's right.
And they're just
Immediately.
words, though. I mean, I might not even mean them.
Right.
But your brain might not be able to tell that I don't mean it.
That's right.
You can't tell if I'm just acting, right?
We can't trust everything the brain says.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah, a lot of times brain couples fear with danger. Well, if you want to live a courageous life, we have to uncouple that fear is danger. Because to be courageous, we have to move through fear.
I definitely think that a lot of the work that we've done together is getting out of, it's a buzzword, so I don't like to use it, but the imposter syndrome. Like,
Yes.
a lot of the reasons why we're an unlikely odd couple is because I wasn't putting myself in my mind in like the partnership path. Even though I was, right? Like everything
Even
I
though
did
I saw
and
it,
the work.
I mean,
But for me, I had been told and I had heard myself, you don't want this. This isn't for you. You want to be able to, leave. You want to be able to be
Flexible.
untethered. You
Yes.
want to be able,
Free.
you're free.
Yeah.
you're a gypsy.
I'm a gypsy. Yeah. And so like I had been told these things by people that I was close to. I was telling myself these things. When having roots that I do right now, I feel freer than I've ever felt.
That's it. That's it.
So for anybody that's experiencing that kind of imposter syndrome or how dare you think that big.
Yeah, because that's something everyone struggles with, right? When you start to talk about, let's live your best life and let's have everything,
Let's start a podcast.
I think let's start right.
It's the acting as if,
It's-
and that's a big coaching concept. Act as if.
But so what do you tell them to give them that permission to where they feel like, okay, everybody really should dream big and have the life that they want? Like, how do you get them over that?
Get them over what?
Just maybe the guilt, like the I don't deserve that, like the undeserving, the I'm unworthy, and who am I to say that I should have everything? Like I
Because-
should just be happy with the lot that I've been given, and that's true humility, or that's a more honorable path than this idea that. And because that's something, right? You get shamed when you start to be successful, and then people want to, oh, well, that's because
When people start listening to their inner wisdom, they know that's not the case. They know that's not true.
that's just another lie.
Yeah, that's just programming.
There is
That's
this
just
awareness,
programming, and yeah.
right? That you just don't know until you're aware.
And then once you see it again, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once somebody understands that they can give themselves permission, often I have to first give them permission. Whether it's permission to rest, permission you deserve to be on vacation, right? You deserve to operate in creativity. Once they give themselves that permission, it changes. But then it's the acting as if. First, we change the behavior. And then after we change the behavior, it starts a whole cascade of events again. It affects our thinking, and then it affects our emotions, and then it reinforces.
What's it like to have cracked that code and seen it happen with so many people?
Rewarding. And what a privilege.
How would it change society, do you think, if more people thought in that direction of how much can I have, abundance, gratitude, giving? That's what makes me really passionate about doing this podcast, working with you, sending people to you, and trying to be some small vessel of what you've given me, is that by opening up these possibilities for one person, really what you're doing is opening it up for so many others, right? Me and Joe obviously want a lot for ourselves, but what has come out of being partners with him is what we want for our staff, what we want for our families.
And it's beautiful because you're the example. Working together, I ignite your light. Your light, you guys have started an inferno.
Well, and I
Right?
referred so many people to you. Ash has as well. You just hope, like you said, when you're like, you can't unsee it. Like now we see it, right? And it's so easy to see in other people, and one of our listeners, let's say they're not an entrepreneur, they don't have their own business, and so this conversation doesn't apply to them in that setting of like professional and financial, but maybe it's just their relationship with a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or wife. All this stuff applies in that sphere as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, across all disciplines and all areas of
In
life.
all areas, yeah. I mean, consciousness is always expanding and growing. We're always expanding and growing. Humans are dynamic. We are not static, which is why the status quo and aligning to ego doesn't work. People will be disillusioned, stuck.
Yeah, because we've had amazing success in our firm, and I've even felt that, if I'm being honest. It's just like, you have a big settlement, and you can kind of like, hey, why am I working so hard? And you coast for a while, and then you realize like, oh yeah, we are meant to create. We are not meant
That's right.
to just kind of sit and get everything perfectly organized. And
There's a reason 80% of Americans are either depressed or anxious.
Because
we're not aligning to the spirit or the truth of who we are. Culture promotes aligning to ego, winning and being right.
You've said that before, that working with people who do not have a purpose bigger than themselves is one of the most challenging parts of your job, or at least one of the things that you have to get over. Why is that so important? And what does that mean?
Because accessing the truth of who we are is going to access something much greater. And so somebody that isn't quite aware of that bigger purpose that they have here, they're living outside in. They're looking at the outside world. They're not seeing themselves as the cause and people, places, and things as the effect. See, you're the cause. You're the cause. The firm, the people around you, those are now the effect. There's a little bit of that learned helplessness in that scenario, where life is what happens to me, not life is what I do with what happens to me.
Yeah.
Then are you saying that in order to be aware and in order to find the synergy, that you have to believe in God?
God, the universe, divine intelligence, we are interconnected, and we are a part of this. We're an ecosystem, a part of a bigger ecosystem. And so not acknowledging that we're a part of something bigger is not really being aware of what is on this planet.
How do you come to that, in that wisdom, this is something that I think is profound about my partnership with Joe is, and working with you, that like I grew up going into churches and feeling a presence, but also feeling like all these people can't be right and all these people can't be wrong simply based on where they are born in the world.
That's it.
So for me to believe in any particular religion is difficult, because I just don't think that anybody has the knowledge of what came, what will come.
Right.
But there is, in working with you and in seeing Joe and his faith, a knowing that there's something bigger.
That's it.
So how do you resonate between those who don't believe in religion but doing this kind of work?
Because they are connected to some sort of source bigger than themselves. And I help coach them to understand even physics. We could look at science. And so a lot of times I'll use science. Again, coaching is a returning to the truth of who we are. It's a wholeness. We're remembering. And so it's using different language, such as, somebody that doesn't believe in God and they're resistant to that. All right, can we go to science? Well, yeah, no, I believe in science. Well, science might be their God, right? So then I'll speak to them from the God of science.
You did that with me in the beginning.
I did.
Give me examples.
Well, we could look at certain concepts like even Newton's third law, okay? Newton's third law, which is, equal opposing force, it's resistance, right? Equal opposing force meets equal opposing force. Okay, well, that's also a spiritual concept. And so what I do is I take a science concept and I'm able to, It goes across all of the fields. Each of these, there are universal truths. And so as I'm pointing out universal truths, it almost expands somebody's thinking.
Start nodding and agreeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then you start to speak a different language. I think I learned how to speak a spiritual language. I felt okay. You gave me permission.
You came into work one day and said you listen to Christian rock, and I was like,
She told me gospel. I was like, who are
I thought
you?
I thought you were pranking me. You were dead serious. And I'm like, what has happened to my partner?
Sunday's Coming. It's one of my favorite songs. Yeah. It is. It is interesting how giving permission to feel like I am not in control of my destiny. I mean, what's funny is that we're talking about being in control, but I don't actually feel in control. And when I'm feeling anxious and when I'm feeling like I need to control something, right? We know that that's kind of one of the issues that I struggle with, that it's easy for me to say, this is not in my hands, this is in God's hands. And I am a vessel and he is working through me. That's been something that's helped me give permission to allow things to unfold without me manipulating the situation.
And in psychology, we can say you're practicing detaching from the outcome.
Yeah, that was huge. How many times have I needed you to tell me that nugget of wisdom? You're attaching to the outcome. Move forward in faith.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
By detaching from the outcome. When we have a controlled version of what it's supposed to look like, we absolutely stifle flow. We stifle possibilities. So why would we do that? If there's only chocolate and vanilla at 31 flavors, no.
It's always fear driven.
It's fear driven, so is control.
What if they
Control is because if we're operating out of this faith that all things work out for our good, that we are a part of this universe in this big microcosm that has a plan that's unfolding, and that we only need to do our part. A big thing about control is people feeling the need to do parts that they don't have to. And then they waste a bunch of energy. They're wasting all this psychological energy trying to control people, places, and things, when instead, if they just do their part, they'll have a reserve of energy because it will all unfold exactly the way it needs to unfold. And then, one of our superpowers is that people believe what we believe. So if we walk into a situation really believing the best outcome will unfold, others will believe that as well. So there's a lot of power in our consciousness and a lot of power in our thinking.
How do you're an oracle to me, just a supreme being. How do you get as much wisdom as you have now? Like, what does your life look like to lead you to this place where you're igniting other people's lights?
We might have just asked you what your daily routine is.
What was that?
Your morning routine.
No, deeper than that. What's your what?
A lot of
in your
adversity,
past?
a
Yeah.
lot of pain that required a lot of growth. And going through difficulties and saying, I will never let somebody go through this without support. Because I had to go through stuff without support. And so, no, I want to be in the foxhole with my people.
You walked it alone and you felt
And
what that felt
and
like.
part of the meaning through that suffering, I'm an existentialist, part of the meaning through that suffering was, I'm going to help people so they don't have to do this alone.
So pain, no. Okay, we're gonna start over. So adversity brought you to pain. Pain led you to want to help others, get out of that pain, wanting to help others, brought you to life coaching.
Yes.
For anybody that wants to go in that direction of maybe getting a life coach,
Mhm.
what does a session actually look like, start like, how do they reach out?
Great question. Okay, so I have a very specific method, and my method starts first with I have a person return to their body. So much of the time, our energy is outside of us. So how about we bring all that energy back inside of us? And then we do some somatic work.
What does that mean, somatic work?
Body work. I have them do some slow, deep breaths, reconnect with the body. I'll ask them if there's tension anywhere, because where the tension is can be telling of what's happening emotionally. You know, emotions are stored in the body.
Is that based on any science, or is that just...
It is.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's something they can test and, like, replicate?
Yes. Mm-hmm. It is. And it's especially, now it's also Chinese medicine has a lot of that as well, but it's incorporated, CAM, in complementary alternative medicine, is under the umbrella of Western medicine.
And it is different? Mine's always tightness in my chest, like right there. Like, it's different for everyone, or they're just
well,
kind of...
that could be adrenaline. That's also adrenaline.
Okay.
So you might have been, does that happen when you're activated?
Yeah.
It's adrenaline.
Yeah, okay.
Because as soon as the stress network is activated, we have cortisol, adrenaline, epinephrine go pumping through our bodies. And so we can feel it in certain places. And so going back to then, once they're inside of their body, I have them listen to what they're thinking and feeling and what they need and want. And we together identify what is our intention. Now, an intention is an energy that we want to amplify, magnify, and grow, versus a goal. Again, transformation is inside out, not outside in. An outside goal is great. You can achieve it maybe 20% of the time. 80% of the time, you're not achieving your goal, right? Because these are things outside of us that we can't control. So we go inside to, what is it that I want to create for myself? And once we get there, then we start doing some programming. I start doing some power thoughts. We talk about situations. I ask them to use their imagination. Again, we're reprogramming the default mode network. And so we start familiarizing the brain. I'll start using some suggestion work from I'm a hypnotherapist. So I'm doing the programming, getting them that brain to be real familiar in the new. And then we'll go through using the imagination of what would it look like for that intention to be demonstrated or acted out in my home life, mm-hmm. or in the community, or at work.
It's so hard to even imagine what that process looks like, especially before I had ever started working with you. You ready to do something crazy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Why don't we do a session
Okay.
where the audience can see you work with Christina?
Just me and you?
Sure, I'll do it too.
Okay.
And what it actually looks like in practice.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. I think that would be great for our listeners to be able to walk away from this and actually have something tangible, practical to apply.
Okay.
And just give it, it can be, it's not cheap, life coaching. And so just something where it's like, okay, I'm open to this idea, but if I can't afford it right now,
Yes.
or I'm not willing to make that commitment,
Right.
What's the home exercises I
Yeah,
can do?
the methodology. So the first thing it would be, are we,
Let's do it.
okay, so all that energy that you've been expending on this podcast, bring it inside. Why don't you close your eyes for a second and take a deep inhalation. Pause when you exhale. Give yourself permission to let go, release, let go of thoughts, programming that doesn't serve you. Breathe in one more time. Elongate the breath. Breathe in more. Pause, exhale, body scan. Good. One more. Inhalation. Notice any tension. Exhale, release. Open your eyes. Is there any tension anywhere?
Just from working out.
Okay.
Nothing excess.
So, Joe, what is your intention for you?
I would love nothing more than to redefine my relationship with my phone.
Okay.
And get my life back a little bit.
Okay.
While honoring my work responsibilities
Mhm.
and getting back to people and all those things, but I know deep down that I've crossed over, and I know a lot of people can probably feel the same way.
That's great.
Right?
That's a great example.
I think it's something that everybody's sort of feeling and struggling with if they're at all trying to find that balance. And for me, I've tried little things here and there. I've listened to podcasts, but I would love to, I don't know, maybe rewire and lay down some new tracks for how I think about my phone and how I use it as a tool.
Okay, so here's the magic question. I wave a wand, and your wish is fulfilled. Okay? and you have your phone, you're not tethered to your phone, what does that feel like?
Liberating.
Liberation.
It feels like I'm regaining like peace, and I feel like I'm not being tugged about and pulled about, and I'm in this conscious state of just like hurry
And
up.
when you're not pulled
hurry up.
about, what's the sensation?
The sensation is equanimity. It's being in the moment. It's being
That's
it's
it.
being
That's
present.
it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
every
That's
conversation I'm having with my kids and
Mm-hmm.
and
No, that's-
strangers in the grocery
that's it.
store isn't this, okay, I could be, doing something like learning Spanish, or I could be checking my text to see if I've got to respond to anything at work, or. So it's this constant like weighing of, is this conversation worth my time, or am I bored, so I got to pull out my phone. Like I feel like I'm no longer in control, right?
Mhm.
And like I'm using it as a filler for being bored, being anxious. So those lines have blurred. Like, with what we do, with what I do at least, like I can always say, well, I need it for work, right? Someone can get in a terrible
course.
car accident in the middle of the night or on a weekend, like so. Right, there's no time limit on that, so I have to always kind of just be there.
Okay,
But-
so what would you have to let go of?
I'd have to let go of the idea that, everything has to be responded to immediately, I guess, is one thing.
Okay.
What's
underneath that? What fuels everything needs to be
It's just a sense of
addressed?
responsibility.
going.
Like
Okay.
just like I want to be someone who people can rely on. I think it's a sign of respect when you get back to people
Mhm.
quickly. And yeah, I just think, well, I appreciate it when I text someone and they text me back.
Mhm.
And it's not 3 days later or 2 days later, it's the same day, or ideally
So
within
what
a
are you
couple
letting
hours.
go of?
Expectations of other people
Okay.
to a certain extent, and being okay with that.
What's the fear?
The fear is that
What if you don't get back to them? What if they don't perceive you as reliable?
that would make me sad.
Very profound.
No, yeah, because I don't want to be that guy that like ghosts, but at the same time,
You want liberation. That's
there
your
are
intention.
certain,
freedom.
yeah, and
Being untethered, being in the moment.
yeah, right. Yeah, I read that like being really fast at responding to emails just makes people email you more stuff, and you know what I mean. Like it kind of creates.
Well, you're
this,
training
like,
people how to treat you.
Exactly. So yeah, I'd like to
Mhm.
retrain, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just I feel like I now believe the lies. Like I know there are several lies I tell myself that like, oh no, I need to have my phone at the dinner table, or I need to have it when I'm driving, and and I need to always be doing something on it, when I also know that the truth is setting up boundaries, which Ash is really good at, of just, okay, it goes in the closet and I don't touch it for at least an hour, or like
Mhm.
that. I would benefit from that,
Okay, so it sounds like.
but I'm losing the battle.
Right. It sounds like you'd be letting go of the opinions of others.
Yeah.
Okay. So increasing that liberation, what's going to fuel that?
What's going to fuel that?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What's going to fuel you operating in your intention of being liberated?
Well, getting a taste of it, but that's the problem, is I haven't done it long enough and practiced it to such a point where I've really seen like, oh yeah, there's a better way and I can do this differently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like the wisdom of your body is telling you that this doesn't work for you anymore.
Mm.
So was there a time it worked for you?
Sure,
Having
20s
it
and
to do-
20s and 30s, like, when
Okay.
it was just I've
So
no
you have
choice.
contrast.
I've got, my back's against the wall, got to make it
Right.
work. Yeah.
Okay, so now you have contrast
Now I have contrast.
and you want to do things differently.
Hmm. There's a better way.
There is a better way. And so for you, setting boundaries, what does that look like?
I guess it can mean letting people know, like in family circles or business circles, or putting little notifications that come up. Maybe they text me and it's just, I'm silent, or like changing the times on those things, maybe bringing them down like to an earlier hour, keeping track of like the mindless things I do on my phone, right? Setting up little safeguards for Instagram and whatnot. Yeah, so there's things I could do.
Okay. And so retrain, because it sounds like what you have to let go of is how you trained people. So when you implement this boundary, and you're not going to be getting back to people within a few seconds, and you are going to have time for family dinner, okay, what is that going to be like? Can you use your imagination and kind of see how you'll handle that? Again, I wave a wand, and you're liberated from your phone. What does that look like?
It means me soaking up each and every moment like I want to, like we all want to, right? And not just being half focused on what's in front of me and then thinking about, oh, I could be texting, or I should be texting, or I should be going through my emails or whatever, right? So it just means...
Is it a form of escapism?
Yeah, for sure, I think, yeah.
So if we remove that, and we remove the noise and the distraction, what will life look like?
I think it'll seem more settled.
Settled.
Yeah.
Okay, give me some synonyms for settled.
Settled.
Viscerally, what would it feel like in your body?
It would feel calm. It'd feel.
That's the intention.
Confident.
Calm, confident, free.
Yeah, free for sure. And just more like unhurried. Yeah, settled.
So you're going to give yourself permission to do what?
To take that energy that I'm giving to the distraction of the phone to the people in my life that matter. And so when I'm talking to them, I'm listening, because that's something I've wanted to do, is become a better listener, right? And it's something we all struggle with, right? Is our mind wandering or not caring about what they're saying and just thinking about what you're going to say. So
I'm hearing presence power. You're wanting to increase.
That's presence power.
You're wanting to increase in presence power.
Yeah.
And that's aligned to the truth of who you are. And so it makes sense to me that it worked in your 20s and in your 30s. But
Why
now,
is that? Why 20s, 30s?
Because now you're showing up differently. Now you're showing up much more aware. You're wanting to be more present. You're increasing in your presence. And that's what I'm hearing you say. I want to listen more.
Is that just because I see death coming sooner? Is that just... Is that the... Well,
Okay. No!
Well, I'm saying you do
We're
get
always-
older and you do start to see, like, oh, this doesn't go forever, and I want to enjoy, the kids
you're dynamic
and the grandkids.
and you're always growing and changing, and so that makes sense to me because I've actually seen you. I've seen this, you wanting this liberation, this freedom, and this presence power in other areas of your life. It makes sense that the natural progression is that you're going to now move it to your device.
Yeah.
How do these sessions end?
So we have our intention.
Me crying. Sobbing on...
We create the intention, and again, this goes back to hypnosis and suggestion work. Again, we're reprogramming our mind because there is programming that's keeping him locked to the phone. The programming is a little bit of people pleasing, a little bit of what they expect. What do they expect?
But stuff that I
to
see
be.
is good. Like, I don't, like, Ash texts me, I want to get back to her, or like something,
Right.
like a bad car accident, I want to respond to that.
Right.
So I told myself that I therefore always need to have it within arm's reach.
Right.
So I don't know how to square that.
But now it's not enhancing your life. It's imprisoning you. You're tethered to it, and so you're wanting to increase that liberation, that freedom. You want more calm, right? So then, what we do in session is we write out the intention, and that intention we look at it in terms of it's reprogramming on purpose. We're going to be thinking on purpose, and the intention is stated. The way the brain understands, the brain is it's a go activation. So we speak to the brain in present tense. So it would be my intention increasing liberation and presence power. And that's something.
So it's not, you're not talking about the phone. You're talking.
Well, the phone is a symptom.
Right. So you're getting at the deeper.
Yeah,
like-
the phone is just a symptom. So as you increase in liberation and calm, you're going to naturally put your phone down.
Love it.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I was just thinking of the example that I came across where this guy goes to a coach and wants to lose weight, and this guy's tried everything, and the thing that finally worked was he said, all I want you to do, don't worry about counting calories or exercising, I just want you to see the sunrise every morning. And the guy,
Okay.
and then the story plays out where, he didn't see the wisdom in it, but once he started doing that, he went to bed earlier, and then he didn't eat as late, and then he felt better.
Unconscious
and then
drivers,
he was,
again.
Yeah,
96% of...
then his
thought.
circadian rhythm is rewired,
That's right.
And then
That's
he's getting
right.
outside and feeling the air and hearing the bird song, and the next thing you know, it's like, well, I'm already up, I might as well go for a walk, right? So it's this whole idea of like, let's reverse engineer this and
Right,
come about
'cause,
this.
again,
like, what's the real
right,
thing
the
we're talking
phone is
about?
just a
Phone's a
symptom.
symptom.
That's right. The undercurrent is what we look at. And
Yeah.
that's where we're just reprogramming it. We don't even have to focus so much on the phone to address the phone.
Yeah, and I'm focusing way too much on the phone, and
External.
hating it, and talking to it
It's a
like it's a
love-hate
real
relationship.
this inanimate object.
So then when we end the session, we come up with a prompt. And the prompt is to be used to reprogram the brain. So to a listener, if they want to start practicing rewiring their brain, they can. It's thinking on purpose. You can create a statement. I find that easiest. And then just like any other sort of exercise you do, the more you do it, not in stress. Okay, so the more that you practice this statement, it gets ingrained. Then it becomes the habit, then it becomes the lifestyle. It starts to become the autopilot.
Yeah. I think it's so funny listening to you have this very concrete example and thing that you want to work out an intention. As I'm sitting thinking like, oh gosh, what's my intention going to be? It's always the same one. I always come back to the same one that you and I work on.
What is it?
Okay, we're going to do it. All right, here we go.
Okay. Okay. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, all that beautiful energy that you give so graciously to everybody, just rejoin your body. Breathing in deeply, pausing, and as you exhale, give your body permission to let go. Release, relax, let. Good job, good job. Breathe in again, elongate the breath, breathing in. Pausing, maybe even roll your shoulders back. Exhale, let go. Yes, and one more. Breathing in. Yes. Pause, letting go of what you don't need. Release, giving yourself permission to be present. Good job. Is there any pain anywhere or any discomfort?
Always in the shoulders.
Shoulders?
Always.
I don't need to
Always there.
remind you what Chinese medicine says about that, do I?
I don't.
Okay.
Weight of the world.
Yes.
Weight of the world. So, I know I've told you this before, I'm going to tell you again. There's a Sylvia Plath quote that I love, and she's sitting at the crotch of a fig tree, and every fig dropping to the ground is a version of a life that she could be living. An astronaut, a mom, a homemaker,
Beautiful.
a wife, a go-go dancer, a writer, an author, and so afraid to pick up one, they all fall to the ground and they die.
Mm-hmm.
And I constantly feel in that state of, I want to be a podcaster and own my own firm and be a mom and maybe be a wife again. I don't know. Be a good partner, be more social like Joe, but also I'm a homebody and I want to be at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to identify as one. But I don't know if that's possible.
Yes. You're returning to a state of wholeness. And this is just more, and it's been an intention over and over and over, because you're continuing to increase in this wholeness. And that's where you're still at. We're increasing in this wholeness. So does it match? And I want your language, because it's not my programming, it's your programming. So if I were to wave a wand, okay, what would it look like? What would the ideal outcome look like? Well, in this now. The only
Yeah.
thing real, you guys, is right now. Past does not exist, future does not exist, only right now. So,
I think I've been striving for things for so long and to be on the next rung of the ladder that the intention that we keep coming back to is to be content in the now, to be content with what we're doing today,
okay.
to not always feel like we need to strive to be somewhere else.
How
and
does
somewhere
it, how does
different.
that relate to the metaphor, to the story that you shared? How are you associating?
Oh, but I want to do it all. I want to do it all, and I want to be it all, and I want to experience it all, and I want to live it all.
As Oprah says, we can, just not all at the same time.
I know that quote from you.
Not all at the same time. Yeah. And I think that it creates confusion in which direction to go into. We talked about it wasn't on my bingo card to be a partner in a law firm, and yet now it's a limiting belief to be a partner of a law firm.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Not
A
this
partner in a law firm
Yeah.
was a glass ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So finish this statement. My intention increasing in.
Increasing in contentment, increasing in ease,
Beautiful.
increasing in a knowing of the direction that I want to head.
Okay. So if you had that knowing viscerally, how does it feel in the body? You boom, have that knowing.
Less anxious,
Ah,
calm,
okay. Okay, beautiful.
sure.
Okay. What fears do you have to let go of?
That it's the wrong one.
Okay, because if it's the wrong one, then what?
I run out of time.
That all sounds valid to me. Like, I'm over here like, oh, it's terrifying.
It is, yeah. It is.
Okay.
But it's a puzzle that I just keep coming back to wanting to solve.
Okay, so wave a wand. Okay, you've increased in that calmness. You're settled. Okay, you're really inhabiting each moment, not feeling this fear of running out of time. But you're in this faith that you have, that everything is in divine timing, that everything unfolds when it needs to, that it just organically unfolds in all these directions. What would life look like?
Me not in control.
Okay, and if you're not in control,
Then
what
God
energy
is.
are you in?
I am in service.
Oh, wow. Wow. I didn't connect those two.
Me either until just now.
Wow, in
Creepy.
service. Okay.
I think it goes back to what I said, that
that's great.
I am just a vessel, and every day I can only show up to one thing, and listening to my inner voice, to God, to presence of power of where I'm being directed in that moment, and letting that be okay, whatever it is.
Did you hear the way you just said that?
Yeah.
Letting that be okay.
Letting that
So,
be
sweetie,
okay.
who's going to give permission?
Me.
You. Okay. Will you give yourself permission to be okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
To not be attached to the outcome.
That's right.
To not live in the future
Right.
every day of my life.
And to know that the entire universe is conspiring for you. The entire universe, not just you. You're not the only one doing this.
Are you quoting my favorite book to me?
I am.
What is that?
Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist.
Alchemist.
Mm,
We're alchemists.
Jeremy Irons.
Your intention. Again, this is for your programming, thinking on purpose, so we can create the life that you want. So then the statement would be, my intention increasing.
Surrender.
How does it feel in your body viscerally when you surrender?
Letting go. Oh, my shoulders are light.
Letting go. Okay. So my intention, increasing surrender and letting go. So that's something every day when you wake up and you have your meditation time, write in that journal, my intention, surrender and letting go.
forever in
Forever.
every session, it feels like. But yeah, I mean, that's what's been such an incredible experience for me, getting to work with you every week. And I think is such a testament probably to both our personalities, is I come back to let go almost every intention
You do.
while you're cooking up new ways to grow and be different.
Yeah, and it's a practice, right? We don't ever come away from it and say, we crushed that life coaching session, right? It's a practice, and it's why we still do it and keep doing it. And I've had some friends that will dabble and dip their foot in the pool, and it's just like anything, you know, when it brings tremendous value, you're not going to get that value unless it's done over a long period of time, in my
Well, and you
opinion.
both are seekers, so you wouldn't be satisfied with,
Quick fix.
I've expanded and I've grown to this point. Now I'm done. I've arrived.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
You guys fully understand that you're dynamic beings, always growing and changing and morphing and transmuting, like the alchemist.
Yeah. So let's say somebody wants to get a life coach. We know it's not regulated. We know that there's many a kind of life coach out there. What do you recommend somebody look for, somebody do in order to find this kind of help?
Okay, I would go on the Coaching Federation website, because you have to be certified to be on that website.
There's at least one filter there, a couple
There's
filters.
at least, right.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be able to submit your certification and from an accredited program. So like mine was an 18-month program through a graduate school. And so,
And we use you mostly, or at least I do, for business things, writing, but it's, I mean, it can be, is there anything, like any topic that's off limits for you, or do you want to just make sure that you look at their resume and make sure it matches with what you're looking for?
well, so coaching is appropriate when somebody has contrast and they realize something in their life isn't working and they want it to work. So I would advise to go on that website to have somebody certified. Right now, anybody can hang a shingle, and that's kind of regrettable. I believe that the best approach is the method that I use, which is multidisciplinary, because that gives a more comprehensive. So you're going to be looking at the body, you're going to be looking at the brain. So somebody that has kind of a blended approach. However, you know, I want to remind the audience that you are the expert on you. Trust your inner guidance. Trust that North Star. So when you are interviewing coaches, trust your instincts, and also know that if you put out that intention of finding that perfect fit, it will come. And trust that instinct. Believe in yourself.
Well, thank you so much for coming on our first
Thank
podcast.
you.
For our lives, basically.
Seriously,
It's
for everything.
It's been just such a privilege, genuinely, to be able to co-create with both of you and to see that you guys have done it. You've created your own story, and it's beautiful.
We
Well,
appreciate
thank you, Christina, and we
Thank
look forward to
you.
having you back on. Where can people find you?
My LinkedIn should be connected with the podcast.
Okay.
Very good.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.